Hi, kindergarten. So our story today is one I'm sure most of you have heard before. It's titled The Tale of the Three Little Pigs. So why don't you turn and tell someone nearby something you know or remember about this story? And maybe you can also tell them something you already know about pigs. Who remembers what other animal is in this story? I think I heard you say wolf. That's right, the big bad wolf. And I don't know if you know this, but wolves often in old stories play tricks on the other characters. Can you think of another story you know where there's a mean old wolf? Maybe you said Little Red Riding Hood or Peter and the Wolf, and you'd be right. Wolves often are tricky and mean in these fairy tales. Well, I happen to enjoy a story when I predict or figure out what might happen before I read it. I already know some things about pigs and about wolves in stories. Maybe this wolf will try to catch the pigs for his lunch. I'll read and see if my idea is the same as the author's. And as you listen, I want you to do that too. And as I read, boys and girls, I'm going to ask myself what each pig does and how it is different from what the other pigs do. This will help me understand the story. You listen and think about the pigs too. So go ahead and buckle your story belts. We're going to read together the classic folk tale, The Tale of the Three Little Pigs. Make sure you can see that. All right, here we go. Once upon a time, three little pigs lived with their mother and father in a snug little house deep in the forest. As they grew older, it became time for them to go out into the world on their own. And so one day they said goodbye and started off to seek their fortunes. Soon they met a man carrying a bundle of hay. The first little pig bought the hay to build his house. Quick as a wink, he built his house and he moved in that very day. Now remember, we want to see if the third pig and the second pig do something different than this first pig. Next, they met a man carrying a bundle of sticks. The second little pig bought the sticks to build his house. Quick as a wink, he built his house and he moved in that very day. The third little pig had waited patiently, and when she met a man with a bundle of fine, strong bricks, she bought them all. Slowly and carefully, the third little pig built a fine, strong house, and in time she moved in. Oh no, I think it's time for the wolf. What's going to happen next? Meanwhile, deep in the woods, a big bad wolf was watching and waiting and licking his chops. 3 fat pigs would make 3 fine meals. And so the wolf, dressed in his finest suit, knocked at the first little pig's door. And in his sweetest voice he called, little pig, let me come in." "Not by the hair on my chinny chin," called the pig, peeking through the door, for he knew the wolf was not to be trusted. "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in," said the big bad wolf. And he did. Fortunately, the little pig escaped just in the nick of time and ran next door. So the big bad wolf knocked on the second little pig's door, and in a louder voice he called, little pig, let me come in." "Not by the hair on my chinny chin," called the pig, peeking through the door, for he too knew that the wolf was not to be trusted. "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in," said the Unfortunately, the little pigs escaped just in the nick of time and ran next door. Oh my! What do you think will happen next at the third house? Why do you think that? By now, the big, bad wolf was furious. So he raced over to the third little pig's house and banged on the door. And in a frightfully gruff voice, he called, little pig, let me come in. Not by the hair on my chinny chin chin, called the pig, peeking through the door. For she knew that the wolf was not to be trusted. Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in, said the big, bad wolf. Huff, puff, huff, puff, huff, puff. What is the difference with this house than the first two houses? Do you think this house fell down? Well, the wolf tried and tried, but the brick house was much too strong, even for a big, bad wolf. The wolf was so exhausted from all that huffing and puffing that he fell asleep right on the little pig's front porch. So the pigs carefully stuffed him inside a great burlap sack, and they carried him all the way to the far side of the forest where he was never seen again. And the three little pigs learned their lesson. This time they built 3 strong brick houses side by side, just down the road from their mother and father. And there they all lived happily ever after. Now, boys and girls, how were their 3 new houses different from the old houses? And why weren't they the same? Some things to think about today. What kind of houses did the pigs build first? That's right. They built a straw house, a stick house, and a brick house. Oh, Arby's here. And how was the third little pig's house different than her brother's? And lastly, I want you to think about which pig had the best plan and why. And what lesson do you think the little pigs learned? Well, I hope you can join us at 3 o'clock this afternoon for our Zoom meeting, because we are going to continue discussing the tale of the 3 little pigs. And we're going to be working together to complete an activity about it. So I hope to see you then. If you can't make it, that's okay too. I hope you enjoyed the story of the 3 little pigs. And you can log on to Seesaw, and there's some more fun activities related to this story.